That's enough.
But if you are telling us that it is
you've made your
all
point.
or nothing,
You've made the point.
then you sometimes have nothing.
Mehdi, why is Israel singled out?
Yeah, I don't accept the premise of the question, obviously. It's interesting you should say that Israel's singled out. There's a little R going out. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, go back on YouTube and see that the first Intelligence Squared debate I did was not about Israel. I came here a few months ago to talk about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and its human rights abuses. So before I even turned up for Israel, I came to condemn Saudi Arabia. And this, I get it. There are lots of UN resolutions condemning Israel. I get that. But if you look at actual practical sanctions, there are no sanctions on Israel from Western countries for human rights abuses. There are against Syria, there are against Russia, there are against Iran, there are against North Korea. So no, I don't think Israel's being singled out. I'd actually like to see sanctions put on Israel so it's treated like other human rights abuses. Consistency, single standard.
Right. I want to give everyone on the panel an opportunity to answer the question that we had from down here, which was, what is the solution? So a moment for optimism, but literally only a moment each. Melanie, can you go first?
I'm always amused, Einat made a crack in her speech, and now again that we know what binational states are like in the Middle East. I'm always amused when Israelis say this, because last time I checked, 20% of the Israeli population is Palestinian, so it's already a binational state. We just want to give the Palestinian part of that state equal rights. Every year, Arab MPs, Palestinian citizens of Israel in the Knesset, almost every year, put a bill forward to turn Israel into, quote, a state for all its citizens. And every year, the president of the Knesset, last year he did it, will not allow it to even reach the floor for deliberation. So tonight I ask Einat, Melanie, do you support an Israel for all its citizens? Because I do. We can call it Israel, call it whatever you want, but just give it a state for all its citizens.
It is a state of all its citizens.
No, it's not.
It's very simple.
In fact,
Israel is a state of all its
literally
citizens.
blocked a bill. The Supreme Court blocked the bill. You're gaslighting, Einat. The Supreme Court blocked the bill to make it a state of all its citizens. You know that. You're a former member of the Knesset.
Okay, you've both had your say on that. Right, now we're going to go for our final statements from our speakers on the panel, summing up speeches to be made seated and to last no longer than 2 minutes. In fact, do you know what, all four of you? If you could just kind of keep them really tight, if you can get them down to less than 2 minutes, I would be grateful. We're going to go in reversed order, so Mehdi, you first.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you still haven't voted, I want you to think of two groups of people when you are voting, for whom opposing this crude, cynical motion is so important, so crucial, so personal. The first group, of course, are the Palestinians. Because if you vote for the motion tonight, you're saying, despite Melanie and Einat's best attempts to try and play this, it's ideology versus adherence, you're saying we all have to be Zionists. Otherwise, we're racists, we're bigots, we're anti-Semites. Which, look, wouldn't be the end of the world for me. Fine, I'll be a Zionist if you want me to be a Zionist. I mean, I once almost voted Lib Dem. I'm okay with labels. But to ask the Palestinians to not just accept their dispossession, their ethnic cleansing, their ongoing occupation, but to also call themselves Zionists or else is outrageous. You can't ask Palestinians to be Zionists. You just can't. And by the way, if they say it's racist to oppose Zionism, well, it's racist to ask Palestinians not to oppose their own occupiers. And look, if you don't care about the Palestinians, still vote against the motion tonight, because there's another group of people you'll be throwing under the bus if you vote for this motion, anti-Zionist Jews. People like Ilan, like my colleague Naomi, like Noam Chomsky, like the Haredi. And in a single sweeping move, you risk throwing all these people under the bus. Jews who oppose Zionism in good faith. We haven't talked about that today. Not once did the proposition acknowledge that we might have good reasons for our views, that we're not all trying to hide behind, what was it Einat said? The shiny respectability of the new anti-Semitism. Don't tar all those people who are fighting for human rights, who are fighting in good faith, as racists, as self-hating Jews, as anti-Semites, for the sake of a political ideology. Don't do it. Don't do it. Whatever your views on Israel-Palestine, vote with the opposition tonight against this ludicrous, dishonest, offensive motion.
Einat.